Chapter 8: Struggles for Equality. Equality is a principle recognized by the Indian Constitution. It states that all Indians are equal before the law and there should not be any discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, sex or financial status. All adults have the right to vote without any bias, and this is a powerful tool they can use to choose/replace their representatives. But in reality, people are treated unequally on the basis of sex, caste, etc. There are ample examples in history where people have come together to protest the inequality they are facing. Economic inequality. The following have an adverse impact on the poor people: privatization of hospitals and neglect of government hospitals. Because of the privatization and the bad condition of government hospitals, poor people do not have access to good health services. High demand for branded goods. The small sellers who sell loose items and non-branded goods are not able to compete with those selling branded goods because they cannot afford the costs involved in branding, i.e. packaging, advertising, etc. Dependence on powerful people for money. Small farmers, due to lack of money, are dependent on local traders for money for the agricultural inputs as well as for family exigencies. They also have to yield to the irrational demands and conditions of the traders. Similarly, the maidservants, due to their poverty, have to bear insults and ill treatment by their employers. Religion-based inequality. Some people are not willing to lease out their apartment to people of a particular religion in spite of their ability to pay rent, or employ people from a particular religion. Recently, there was news about a Muslim youth being denied the job because of his religion. The youth was suitably qualified and had applied for an opening in a jewelry firm. But he got an email which mentioned that the company only hired non-Muslim candidates. Caste-based inequality. The Dalit community is always victimized and oppressed. Shri Om Prakash Valmiki, a Dalit writer, has elaborated this in his autobiography Jhootha. In this he has mentioned that he was forced by his teachers to sweep his schoolyard just because he was a Dalit boy. Gender-based inequality. In one of the earlier chapters we have read about how the work done by women is devalued. It is not given any recognition and they are also paid less than their male counterparts. The discrimination is because of the social and cultural background we are brought up in. Linkages between the grounds of inequality. There is a strong interrelationship between the bases of discrimination and inequality. For example, the issues of poverty, lack of dignity and respect for some communities are not independent issues. They exist together in such a manner that it is very difficult to identify where one aspect of inequality ends and the other starts. For example, the dropping out of school of the Dalit, Adivasi and Muslim girls is a combined outcome of poverty, social discrimination and lack of good schooling facilities. This is an all-in-one example of inequality, i.e. it shows the inequality on the basis of financial status, caste, religion and gender. Struggles for equality. Throughout the world, in every community, village, city and town, you will find that there are some people who are known and respected because of their fight for equality. These people may have stood up against an act of discrimination that they faced or which they witnessed. Or they may be well respected because they treat all persons with dignity and are, therefore, trusted and called upon to resolve issues in the community. Often, some of these persons become more widely recognized because they have the support or represent large numbers of people who have united to address a particular issue of inequality. In India, there are several struggles in which people have come together to fight for issues that they believe are important. In the chapter on Women Change the World, we have read about the women's movement, which was intended to create awareness and solve the issues of inequality faced by women. Many such examples exist regarding fight against injustice by groups of beedi workers, fisherfolk, agricultural laborers, slum dwellers, etc. Forming of cooperatives is also a method of coming together for preventing exploitation and getting a good bargain in a transaction. Another such example is the formation of Tawa Matsya Sangh, which is to fight an issue. Tawa Matsya Sangh. When dams are built or forest areas declared sanctuaries for animals, thousands of people are displaced. Whole villages are uprooted and people are forced to go and build new homes, start new lives elsewhere. Most of these people are poor. In urban areas too, bastions in which poor people live are often uprooted. Some of them are relocated to areas outside the city. Their work as well as their children's schooling is severely disrupted because of the distance from the outskirts of the city to these locations. This displacement of people and communities is a problem that has become quite widespread in our country. People usually come together to fight against this. There are several organizations across the country fighting for the rights of the displaced. In this chapter we will read about the Tawa Matsya Sangh Federation of Fisher Workers Cooperatives, an organization fighting for the rights of the displaced forest dwellers of the Satpura forest in Madhya Pradesh. The Tawa river flows through Baitul before joining the Narmada in Hoshangabad. It originates in the Mahadev Hills of Sindhwara district. The work of building the Tawa Dam was started in 1958 and it was completed in the year 1978. It resulted in the submerging of large areas of forest and agricultural land. The life of the forest dwellers was reduced to nothing. Some of the displaced people settled around the reservoir. They found a new source of livelihood. Apart from their meager farms, they started fishing. Their earnings were also very less. The rights of fishing in the Tawa reservoir were given to private contractors by the government in the year 1994. These contractors drove away the local people in order to get cheap labor from outside. Those villagers who resisted leaving were threatened by the henchmen of contractors. At this point the villagers united and decided to set up an organization for protecting their rights. This led to the formation of the Tawa Matsya Sangh, TMS. The TMS demanded their right to continue fishing for their livelihood by organizing rallies and chakka jams, blocking the roads. In response to their protests, the government created a committee to assess the issue. The committee recommended that fishing rights be granted to the villagers for their livelihood. In 1996, the Madhya Pradesh government decided to give to the people displaced by the Tawa Dam the fishing rights for the reservoir. A 5-year lease agreement was signed 2 months later. On January 2, 1997, people from 33 villages of Tawa started the new year with the first catch. A cooperative was set up which bought the catch from the fish workers at a fair price. The cooperative also arranged the transport and sale of the catch at a good price. This resulted in a threefold increase in the earnings of the fish workers. The TMS had also begun giving loans to the fish workers for repair of nets and buying new nets. The TMS has proved that when people's organizations get their rights to livelihood, they can be good managers. This was proven by the increase in earnings of the fish workers and the preservation of fish in the reservoir, both being an impact of the TMS. The India Constitution as living document. The term constitution, a living document, means that it is a document that exists in reality. It does not exist merely on paper but is implemented also. It has the ability to change the lives of the people in a better way, like it did for the fish workers in TMS. The provisions of the Constitution regarding equality were actually implemented as a result of their united protests. The recognition of equality for all people, besides being a provision in the Constitution, is also the basis for all the movements for justice and the poetries and songs on equality. There are communities and individuals in a democracy who constantly try to expand the sphere of democracy and push for more equality on existing as well as new issues. Issues of equality are central to a democracy. In this book, we to highlight issues that